Yeah.
Way to bring it. What
Yes.
you think, Stephen A., right?
Not bad. It was all right. It's getting better. It's getting better.
Let me tell you what I liked about the last guy.
The competition.
See, if you're going to plan out the thing with the props and the whole thing, that's the way you do it. He did it with flavor. It was smooth, and he had a point to make with an economy of words. He's on the Brady wagon with biscuit wheels. It's pretty good.
He brought it.
He was all
right. You know who didn't bring it? Colin Kaepernick. He's been on the forefront of social activism of late in choosing not to stand for the national anthem in protest of police brutality against African Americans. So when Colin Kaepernick said he has not and will not vote in this presidential election, it left many scratching their head as to how he can be socially conscious yet not vote. Kaepernick has previously expressed his displeasure with both candidates in the presidential election. Stephen A., did he betray his cause?
He absolutely betrayed his cause. As far as I'm concerned, Colin Kaepernick is absolutely irrelevant. I don't want to see him again. I don't want to hear from him again. I don't want to hear a damn word about anything that he has to say about our nation, the issues that we have, racial injustices, needing change, etc., etc. He comes across as a flaming hypocrite. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not interested in a damn word that he has to say. And quite frankly, I hope he goes away. He's lucky to be in the league right now. He's 0-3 as a starter this year, only completed 52% of his passes. He hasn't won a game. He doesn't look good at the quarterback spot. I don't care about Rust. I don't care about anything else. My days of rooting for him have come to an end. And here is why. You know something? Max Kellerman, as an African American in this country, you have to be sensitive to the fact that civil rights legislation was passed in the mid-'60s. Okay? When we talk about the battles that have been fought, the things that have happened to people, what they've had to endure, the fact that folks ended up dying for the right for him to have the right to vote in this great country of ours. You have the opportunity to vote. And what exactly is voting all about? Ladies and gentlemen, you know what voting is? You know what? Do you not understand that that's the reason why we're the greatest country on the planet Earth? It's not just because of our wealth. It's not just because of the resources that we have available to us. It's because we have the power to change and manipulate the course, not just of our lives, but of generations to come because of the voice that we have through the vote to provoke change. If anybody in this country should appreciate that more, it is African Americans. Because that right wasn't something that was always bestowed upon us. You're Colin Kaepernick.
And women.
And women, absolutely, because women didn't have the right to vote. Absolutely.
Till long after African American men did, and think of how racist the country was back then.
That is correct. So knowing all of this, and then having the audacity to kneel for the national anthem, talking about how you won't stop until there is change that takes place, but ignore the very thing, the most poignant thing you can fathom to help facilitate that change, and you play no active role in that. It's inexcusable. When President Obama was campaigning on behalf of Hillary Rodham Clinton, and he spoke at the Congressional Black Caucus, what he said was he would consider it a personal insult to his legacy if black folks did not activate themselves within this election. And Colin Kaepernick, after all this noise that you made, even though you didn't intend to do so by offending our military servicemen and women, and pointing out about how you wanted to bring attention to racial injustices and beyond this in this country, to turn around and not to even take your behind to the polls to vote for a particular candidate, it is shameful. Absolutely shameful. Him of all people, because of the position he took, because of the attention he brought to the issues, the fact that you don't even have the decency to go to the polls and activate yourself in this election, as our president said, is a damn shame. I don't want to hear another word from Colin Kaepernick. It's a waste of time. A matter of fact, I would personally make a request to the media in this nation. Wherever he is, if he ain't on that football field trying to throw another damn incomplete pass, do me a favor and make sure one thing. Take the camera away from him. It means nothing. Because for him not to vote, as far as I'm concerned, everything he said meant absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't want to hear another damn word from him. Nothing.
I don't feel that way about him, but you and I aren't arguing about the substance of the point. Let me explain. Colin Kaepernick, first let me start with a definition of a dilemma. Because a lot of times people will say, I have a dilemma. And what they mean is they have a choice to make. That's not what a dilemma is. A dilemma is defined as a choice with two bad options. You have two bad choices. Which one are you going to take? Colin Kaepernick, with the anthem protest, faced the dilemma. He had two bad options, and that's why he didn't publicize his stance, or sitting at first and then kneeling later. He didn't publicize it because it was a bad situation to be in. He didn't feel his conscience would allow him to stand for the national anthem, given various issues he felt indicated that that America wasn't living up to its ideal. And yet he also knew that if he sat, he'd bring a lot of attention and pressure on himself. And he chose to sat. That's different than sitting something out, than not making a choice. He made a choice. Here, he was faced with a dilemma in his mind. Even though I didn't think that it was fair that this was considered kind of an equivalency, and Hillary Clinton, he was a highly effective technocrat with a lifetime of civic service and a bunch of trumped up, so to speak, charges about fake corruption and stuff like that. Nevertheless, from his point of view, he felt that it was a dilemma because he had two bad options. His conscience wouldn't let him vote for either one. Vote for, I don't know, Jill Stein or something. You gotta vote. You have to vote, because if you don't, that's not the same thing as sitting out the national anthem, even maybe if it is in his mind. That was a choice. This was a choice to not make a choice. Pick the lesser of two evils, or pick a third one, or write someone in. But to disenfranchise yourself is why Stephen A. Smith just went ballistic. Because the fight to be in a position to make the choice between the lesser of two evils in one's own mind, or to write someone in or vote for a third-party candidate, was a long, bloody, hard fight. And to take it away from yourself because the choice is difficult is outrageous and ill-conceived on Colin Kaepernick's part.
Those are very beautiful words, but let me simplify it for you. It was weak. Okay? And as far as I'm concerned, it was a disrespect to our ancestors. And I mean that specifically as it pertains to him because of the position he took. Max, if the man hadn't voted, that would be bad enough. But how the hell are you going to take the position that you took all of these weeks and then turn around and announce to the world that you didn't vote? I mean, that makes it even worse. What the hell did you tell everybody? I don't know. I don't talk to him. I wish that he would have called me, because I would have told him that might be the stupidest thing you've ever done in your life. Now, this is the point. Again, I'm going off on him, but it's not just because he didn't vote. It's because you went out and told everybody that you didn't do it after taking the position that you took. So if you're a military serviceman and woman who was offended, even though they had no business being it because he wasn't directing it towards our American military servicemen and women, if you take that position, okay, if you're a serviceman or woman, you're like, really? That's the position that you're taking? Because we over there putting our lives on the line to preserve the rights that you have, Then you go to racial injustices and all of this other stuff. Well, how do you change that? You vote. Because that's one of the ways, and that's the most profound way to pull it off. And then not only that, it's not just about voting, but at the same time you announce to the world that you would not stop until change took place. And you have an opportunity to exact change with your own actions, and you pass on the most important component to facilitate change. It is ignorant, it is weak, it is shameful, and more importantly, is it a disrespect to our ancestors.
And
listen, by the way, one more point, Mac.
Yeah.
I don't always agree with our president. I love him dearly, but I don't always agree with him. Let me be very, very clear. But he was certainly right when he demanded that our community activate itself in the election. No matter which way you're voting, as far as I'm concerned, just exercising your right. How pathetic can you be if you're Colin Kaepernick? It is a shame.
And also,
I have nothing to say to him. If I looked at him, if I saw him right now, I walk right by. He should be ashamed of himself.
Let's encourage civil discourse and communication.
Oh, that is civil. I said I walk right by him. I didn't say I would try to do something. I'd walk right by him.
Big dude, you better not try to do something.
Well, listen, you know what? Listen, by the way, I'm a slim dude, but by the way, I can throw down just a little bit. Let's be clear. Ain't no punk this way. But I'm not saying I'm not a violent person, and I'm certainly
I'll do the hold me back thing. Don't worry about it, because that's a big.
I do know how to use my hands.
Look, my father, the shrink, would say, the perfect is the enemy of the good. And if Colin Kaepernick is not satisfied with incremental change, if he's not satisfied with moving the ball up the field, taking a little 4-yard gain instead of a loss or no gain, then he's looking for the perfect, and he's therefore not going to do any good at all, and therefore that is bad. You know, the absence of doing anything at all. It comes off as lazy. In other words, if you think the candidates are roughly equivalent for some reason, and you feel your conscience won't let, they neither one aligns with my politics exactly, do your homework. Find out who aligns with it. Find out who aligns. This is what I'm talking about, the way it comes off. Find out the way whoever's politics aligns with yours a little bit more. Cast your vote in that direction, because the alternative is the country will be aligned with the way you feel a little bit less. And if you're not satisfied with at least incremental change, if you're waiting for things to be perfect, if you're looking for the 60-yard bomb down the field, and that's the only thing you're satisfied with, you're usually not going to accomplish very much.
He didn't vote, Max. Bottom line is this, that afro and all. Just go get your damn haircut. Go out there and play for the sorry San Francisco 49ers, because nobody should give a damn what he has to do now. If you're not willing to vote, you then wasted our time. I defended him, Max. Remember that? I defended him. What a waste of time. You don't vote? Oh, please. Go away.
And especially when you've become a voice for social activism now, and now you're...
You already know what it is. It's Barbershop Conversations. Hit the subscribe and the like button today.